I had a good solid job from when I graduated from my engineering college. Really good job, but I never went there. In fact, I still remember my father was so mad at me, but I said I cannot work. I will not go. So I was, and my interview at IIFM went very well. So I went home, and then I stayed at home for a month, and I knew IIFM will call me. So I was a PFM student from 2003 to 2005, and then I joined Winrong International. Now they have changed their name in their New Delhi office. So I was there for a year, and then basically I got into research and getting a feel of it. So basically then I started looking for PhD opportunities in the area of forest policy and economics, especially looking into US universities, because US forestry schools are very well established, and plus they have quite a bit of industry. So that is where I wanted to do my PhD. So I got lucky because my boss at that time, Dr. Kinsuk Mitra, he was a PhD from University of Florida. So basically he told me that that's a pretty good solid school. You should definitely try University of Florida. So that is how it got connected. So I applied to University of Florida. My advisor at that time, he liked me, and he said, it's very fortunate that on the same very day he got some grant. So basically he was just about to start a search for a PhD student anyways. So I applied almost on the same day. So basically that is how it all came together. So I went and worked with Dr. Janaki Alavalapatti for 4 years as a PhD student, learned about the subject, appreciated the subject. It's so much to learn in this subject. I learned quite a bit of skills. So then I finished my PhD working on sustainability of using wood for energy in University of Florida. And then in the meantime, I was also publishing, because that is very important, especially if you want to be a scientist or proven scientist, let's put it that way. Then I got a job opportunity at Yale School of Forestry as a postdoc research associate in their Yale Climate and Energy Institute. So I was affiliated with Dr. Rob Ballas at Yale School of Forestry. So I was there at Yale for 2 years as a postdoc. Then I got another postdoc opportunity at University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, with Dr. Madhu Khanna, working again as a postdoc fellow. And that project was also on looking into bioenergy development, especially sustainability part of it. So that was 2013. And then in the meantime, I was looking for faculty position, especially in big land grant universities of this country. So then this job came up. It was advertised in June of 2013. I applied for it. They interviewed me and all those things. So I started a faculty position as an assistant professor of forest sustainability, October 2nd, 2013 at University of Georgia, Warnell School of Forestry and Natural Resources. I always wanted to do research, and I got lucky that when I approached IIFM, I got in touch with Dr. Rathore. At that time, he was a professor there. Now he's a dean. So then basically he advised me quite a bit on how to approach research, and basically how to make sure that you're not only doing research, you're also learning how to write it up and try to publish. So that was very exciting for me from the day one, because I think a good advisor is very important, especially if you want to be successful as a researcher. So Dr. Rathore, was the basically, how I should put it, precursor for my research career in the future, let's put it that way. Okay.
Yes,
so that was a pretty much good milestone in terms of professional, starting with a good advisor, especially when you are interested in doing research. So that helped me a lot. Doctor also advised me how to select universities and how to go about it, everything basically A to Z. So that was very helpful for me. I always wanted to do research. I always wanted to be a professor in a big land grant university where I can do research 70-65% of time and do 30-35% of teaching, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. So I got very lucky, both, God permitting, that I got what I always wanted. So that was good. And in terms of milestone, when you talk about specifically, I will be always proud of publishing my first paper, because that paper was all my research that I did as a master's student in IIFM. So that was really nice. So when that paper got out, I was really excited, and basically I printed it and smelled it just to make sure that I remember this smell for a very long time. because first paper is always special, right? Because that speaks quite a bit of work. And but that's about it. And second big milestone is that when I graduated my first student as a PhD and a master's student, when I became faculty. So that was basically my chance to give it back to the society from I have gotten so much. So those are two key important milestones. And after that, you get used to what you have done. So nothing any significant. But yeah, I really enjoyed my first paper, which was published. And also I really enjoyed when I graduated my first student, Surendra, who was master student, my first master student and my first graduate students. So these were two milestones really big because they were of the proof that I'm achieving what I always wanted to achieve, right? So those are good things. Uh, in terms of professional, so that was professional. In terms of personal issues, definitely. I got very lucky to marry somebody whom I always wanted to marry. So that is always good, right? And then nowadays I have two daughters. One is Anya, she is 9 years old, and second one is Isha, she is 3 years old. So yeah, so altogether, very good. So I did my engineering actually. So I'm a mechanical engineer in undergrad education. I did my engineering at Institute of Engineering and Technology, Deviala University, not very far from your place. So, I was doing good in the class, but then I got some experience of working with the industry for 3-4 months. I think it was some summer training. And then I also got a job at a decent place. But then what happened all of a sudden, especially when I was doing my training, then I realized that basically there is no creativity there because we get in that company, they used to get designs from foreign companies and they were just copying those designs and making things in India instead of making somewhere else, right? Just like what we do with nowadays with China, China is making everything, but by following somebody's design, right? But then I thought, I cannot do this work because I need to use my brain where I can be creative, where I am actually advising people and contributing to their life forever. So then I started thinking deep that what I should do, where I can use all the skills that I have learned as engineer, modeling, maths, and high-end differential equations and whatnot, right? And try to help people in their normal day life. And then all of a sudden I got a chance to visit a forest place, which was not very far from my school, my engineering school. And then I thought, boy, this is really good because forestry, people think it's all about trees, but that is not the case. It's all about data and it's all about people. And that is where it came into my mind that I should do something in forestry because that is where I can use all the skills that I have learned as an engineer. But at the same time, I'm contributing to some new domains, some new creative ideas, some new things which are helping people, not only people in forests, but also people in cities with all the ecosystem services and whatnot. So then I thought, oh boy, but in my engineering college, nobody had any clue how to do some primary research work in forestry because it was hardcore engineering school. So then I started talking to some seniors in my engineering school. Then one of the seniors' elder brother was doing PGDFM in IIFM. So that is how things got started. And luckily, Bhopal is never far from Indore. It just takes 4 hours of bus. I don't know, it might be a little bit shorter nowadays. So I hopped on a bus and came to IIFM, visited the campus, talked to that person, and I was sold. And that is how I started my journey with IIFM in forestry. And I must say that I have never looked back when I started as a career in my forestry. I have really enjoyed every day as a forester, as a person who knows about forestry, where you can, like, opportunities are immense. You can be anything you want, especially in the world of forestry and natural resources. So that is how it all started because of my experience in industry. I never liked those 3 months. That was really boring 3 months of my life. But after that is why I started seriously to think about to change something which really excites me. And that is how I landed up in forestry because I thought this is where I want to be. And thankfully, forestry has not rejected me. Forestry accepted me with both hands. And every day is a new day in forestry. Yeah. So I had my room partners. Sid was a good friend of me, and his girlfriend at that time, and now wife Rashmi was also a good friend. I had some couple of friends too at that time, and also always I was always in, basically, I don't know what you call them nowadays, computer labs. I think that was the term that we used to use. At that time I was new to computer, I was trying to learn new skills, so I was mostly spending my time in computer labs. But whenever we had time and whenever we used to hang around, it was mostly with my roommates and uh, Rashmi and a few other folks at that time. On top of that, I was also working, since I was doing my research paper for my work. I was always in touch with Dr. Rathod because that was very important, because we had to publish, because I wanted to make a career, and publication was the first stepping stone to get into big universities with all the funding. So that is where my most of the focus was, actually. And then I had some good friends from, you know, Govind was there, and Nishant was there, and Pujan was there. So Pujan was forester from Mauritius. So he was working, he was PGDFM student, because IFM has some collaboration with SAR countries. So Pujan was a forester in Mauritius, but he was doing PGDFM in our batch. So we were good friends, and we all went to Shimoga as a part of our training with forest department. So those 3 months were really good months in Shimoga. We really enjoyed our time there. Yeah. I still remember we celebrated our 31st of December, like in a forest guest house or rest house, which was next to Jog Falls, the highest falls in India. So that was pretty remarkable, actually. So we really enjoyed. We still cherish all those memories in our small group here and there all the time. Yeah. Do not start with a job in mind, because that's a really bad start, because you don't know where you are landing up. And as you know, opportunities are immense. As I told you, you can be anything from IFM. You can be a modeler, you can be a development professional, you can be a sustainability professional, you can be a watershed guy, or you can be rural development person. Who knows what you will be, right? So first things first, because most of the people come to IFM without knowing where, not doing proper research where they're landing up, right? So if you start with a job in mind, I think that is not a good idea, because jobs will come. So idea is that first take your classes seriously, very seriously. Try to understand how things are connected, and what is your actual interest is. In my case, I was very lucky because I knew what excites me before I even landed up in IFM, right? But for most of the people who come, they don't know. They are still trying to figure it out where they want to land up. So first idea is take your classes seriously, because that will give you an idea that where you have landed up. And then basically is, you will, once you are taking your classes seriously, then you will start understanding what really excites you. Then in whatever area you are interested in, go and talk to faculty members, because we have very good faculty members who know about this sector. They do quite a bit of research, so that helps quite a bit. And then basically figure it out exactly what you want to go.